And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've got a big game tonight. It is Ajax of Amsterdam versus Glasgow Rangers in the Champions League group stages. And I'm absolutely buzzing for this game. I cannot wait to get into it. I see a couple of score predictions already down in the live chat there as well, so I'll read through those in a second. I'll quickly go through the lineups for both sides as well. We'll start with the home team, Ajax. So we've got Pasveer in net, Wrenched at right back, Timber and Bassi, the ex-Rangers man himself, playing as the two centre-backs. We've got ex-United player Daley Blind at left back, Kudos, Alvarez and Taylor in the midfield. Berge-Huez, Tadic and Bergwijn, the ex-Spurs man, playing as a front three. So 4-3-3 for Ajax tonight. And for the away side, we've got John McLaughlin in net, hoping for a big game from him tonight due to his poor performance on the weekend against Celtic. Hopefully he can kind of redeem himself. We've got Barisic at left back, Sands and Goldson at centre back, with captain James Tavernier at right back. We've got John Lundstrom, Scott Wright in the midfield, with Ryan Kent out on the left, Tillman on the right, and Glenn Kamara down the middle, with Antonio Kolac up front. So what are you guys' thoughts on the two lineups today, and what do you guys think the end score will be for the game tonight? I'm pretty optimistic. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Rangers win, a nice away win today. Looking at the Ajax team, it doesn't look like a team that looks too familiar. With Ajax, they always do change their lineups because they do kind of get a lot of their players taken off them throughout the summer. There's a few recognisable faces, obviously Calvin Bassey being the main one for a lot of the Rangers supporters out there, the ex-Rangers man himself. So it'll be interesting to see him play for them. And obviously we got McLaughlin in net for Rangers as well. He obviously had quite a poor game on the week as well. I see Lewis has put 2-0 Ajax in the chat already. He's going for an Ajax win. Danielle Bevington says 3-0 Ajax. Bassey in the last minute. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. GK Barkley says Rangers 3-2. That'd be interesting to see. Hopefully we can get a few goals as well. I think big hopes on Kolac's shoulders tonight as well. He obviously scored the decisive goal in the PSV game on the second leg away to PSV to get us into the group stages. The Blue Baron says 2-1 Rangers. Yeah, same as me. I reckon 2-1 Rangers as well. I'm going to go for a Kolac brace, and we'll go for Tadic to get one as well. But I'm pretty optimistic tonight. I think we can definitely get a win, and it's going to be a really exciting game as well. Obviously, it's the first time that both Celtic and Rangers have been in the Champions League group stages together since 2007, I believe, as well. So it's very exciting. Where's Dan? Gone on holiday? Yeah, Dan's actually, it's his last day on holiday today. He'll be back for the Aberdeen game on the weekend, Rangers versus Aberdeen, I believe it is. But he's currently on a plane at the moment, so he's actually missing the game. He's a bit gutted. He actually wanted to watch the game as well, but he's on a plane at the moment, so he can't be here tonight. But I'm excited for this game as well, guys. I'm looking forward to it. Been following Rangers in Europe for a while as well, so I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, they had a great run in the Europa League last year as well, so hopefully we can get some more of the same in the Champions League as well. Kenneth Elliott says 2-1 Morelos to get the winner. Yeah, Morelos is on the bench as well, so if needed, he will come on later on in the game and hopefully get a goal if needed. I have a husky and his name is Kyogo. Poor dog. Love it. All right. Yeah, the poll says there's majority's Rangers. I reckon they're going to win. 58% Rangers, 29% Ajax, and 12% say a draw. It's going to be a close game, I think. Fairly matched sides, but I am going for Rangers. I think they will just edge it tonight. Obviously, Rangers did beat PSV, but as things stand, Ajax are probably the best team in the Eredivisie. They currently are the leaders as well. But it's gonna be a good game nonetheless. We're about 5 minutes away from kickoff as well, guys. No matter the score, Rangers win. Hoping so. Obviously, Liverpool and Napoli kick off later on tonight as well. They are the other two teams in the group, and that'll be an interesting game to see as well, because Liverpool obviously haven't been as strong this season. So I think Napoli probably could get something out of that game, which would be quite interesting to see. I'm buzzing for this game tonight as well, and I think when Rangers and Liverpool do play as well, the atmosphere is going to be amazing in Ibrox and Anfield as well. It's going to be really good. Make sure you drop a like as well, guys, on the stream. It helps push out the stream a little bit more as well. and subscribe to the channel as well. Quickly before the game starts, we've got about 5 minutes before the game starts. I want to get you guys' opinions on the Thomas Tuchel sacking as well in the Premier League. It was announced this morning by Chelsea that he was sacked. A lot of people saying it was quite premature in terms of obviously sacking a manager when you just backed him about £300 million in the transfer market. So comment down your thoughts on that as well. Interested to hear some people's opinions on that. I don't think this Ajax team is as strong as they have been in the last few years as well. Obviously, Ten Hag's left them now. He's at Manchester United as well. He's a great manager. So they got a new manager in now. But it'll be interesting, definitely. But the players are in the tunnel now, getting ready to come out onto the pitch. It's a sold-out arena today at the Johan Cruyff Arena. Looking forward to this, so guys. It's going to be a really, really good game. Hopefully start off the group stage as well with a win. Obviously, Celtic lost yesterday 3-0 to Real Madrid. We covered that on the channel as well. It was a really good game by Celtic in the first half, but they were really poor in the second half, and obviously Real Madrid capitalised on that and won the game 3-0. Thomas Skinner says 3-2, we are the people. A lot of Rangers support in the chat here. Yeah, a lot of Rangers support in the chat. 2-1 Rangers with Kent and Tav. Yeah, I think Tav's going to be a big threat down that right-hand side as well. He's obviously a massive player for Rangers, especially on the European nights. So it's going to be a good game. We're about 2 minutes away, guys, from kickoff here. Make sure you drop a like on the stream. We're on about 30 likes at the moment. Trying to get to 50 in the next 10 minutes or so. Just get the stream out there. Got a lot of Celtic fans in here as well, hoping that Rangers lose. Big things expected for Kolac as well tonight. It's been in great form since he signed to Rangers. He's got 7 goals and 10 appearances in all competitions so far. 4 and 6 in the league, I believe, as well. But he also scored 2 goals in 2 games against PSV over both legs. So definitely a big threat up front for Rangers. And obviously that man Calvin Bassey at the centre-back for Ajax as well. Obviously we know how good he is as well. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does. Hopefully not too well. Yeah, but the stadium's completely sold out. It's rammed with fans in there. Ajax is a good team but sell their best players. Yeah, that's the problem with Ajax. They have. I remember a few years ago, we got to the semi-finals of this competition and lost to Tottenham in a very sad way, really, in the last few minutes of the game with Lucas Moura. They had a really good team back then, but that summer, after that Champions League run, they got raided by obviously Barcelona, Juventus, for De Ligt and De Jong, and a lot of other players left as well. It seems to be the common occurrence for Ajax when they have really good seasons. Their players the next year do end up leaving and go somewhere else. But that's the beauty of Ajax as well. They can constantly reproduce these really good young talents and these wonder kids that come through. They had a player called Gravenberch as well. I'm not sure if he still plays for them, but he was a really good youngster as well in the midfield. He's not playing tonight. I'm not sure if he's been sold or not, but he was a really good player. But they're constantly producing young talent. And obviously Anthony's just left as well there, Brazilian winger. He's joined Manchester United with his former manager, Erik ten Hag. And he'd have been a big danger threat down that right-hand side. But we're just nearly getting to kick off now, guys. The two managers going in for a handshake. Obviously probably familiar because when used to work in Eredivisie as well. But it will be Rangers to kick us off. It's Ryan Kent here. Ajax to win 3-1. I've got a lot of the old Celtic fans in here tonight. We had a few Rangers fans in the chat last night as well. But we are underway now. And it is Rangers from kickoff. It's Timber. He passes it. Goes out for an Ajax throw-in early on after a failed Rangers attack straight from kickoff. Daley Blind takes the throw-in, but is headed away by Connor Goldson and lands in Tillman's feet, but he is tackled by the Ajax defence, and they are now pressing Rangers defence, but it comes to Connor Goldson again, who collects the ball and passes it back to McLaughlin. He boots it cleared out to Ryan Kent, just misplaces his pass though, and it lands to Renage at right back. You got to forgive me on some of the pronunciations of these Ajax players as well, so I don't recognise some of these players, like Renge at right back. A couple of new youngsters in the team. But it is Daley Blind in possession now for Ajax, just passing it back to Bassi. Bassi then passing it back to their keeper. Daley Blind again. He then loops the ball over to Tadic down the left-hand side here. He tries to feed a pass onto Kudos, but it goes out of play for a Rangers goal kick. The Ajax coach is called Alfred Schroeder. He's obviously the new man that's replaced Erik ten Hag since he left to join Man United. Got some big shoes to fill, that's for sure. But he's doing well so far in the league. They are top of the table, I believe, by goal difference. But it is McLaughlin. He passes back to Connor Goldson. Back to McLaughlin. He boots it out long. Trying to find Lundstrom in that midfield, but he is fouled trying to win that header. And it is a Rangers free kick in the centre of the park here. Positive start so far, guys. Shout out to Robert Kirk's brother Lee, obviously a member of the channel as well. But it is Rangers in possession now with Tillman in the opposition box, trying to find Kolac here, but he is pressed quite heavily by Calvin Bassi, and he does pass it back to Barisic. Barisic then finds Ryan Kent down that left-hand side. He then lays the ball back to Connor Goldson. Connor Goldson then passes the ball across to James Tavernier down the right-hand side. He finds Kolac, but Kolac's first touch is misplaced and it goes out for an Ajax throw-in in their own half. Calvin Bassi in possession now, passing it back to Pasveer. Pasveer then boots it long for Ajax out the park. Finding Dusan Tadic there. He was the captain for Ajax tonight. But his touch is misplaced and it lands in the feet of Sands. Sands then lays the ball back to McLaughlin. What is the situation with McGregor, guys? What's the reason he's not starting games? Because I don't think McLaughlin's really cut out to be playing in the Champions League group stage. That's my personal opinion there, but is it? I don't know what the reason they dropped McGregor. Was it like an initial injury at the start of the season, and then McLaughlin just filled his boots for now, or what's the situation going on there? But it is Calvin Bassi now in possession for Ajax. He lays the ball out to Wrench down the right hand side. He then finds Tadic. He lays the ball back to Berghus. Berghus back to Tadic. Tadic trying to tee up a ball into the box here. He gets the ball in, but it's cleared away nicely by James Tavernier. But his cleared away ball does find Bergwijn on the left hand side, but the referee blows for offside, and it is a Rangers free kick. First 5 minutes probably been majority Ajax so far, but still early days. It was actually a handball by Bergwijn there. The ball kind of touched his hand, but it is a Rangers free kick nonetheless. Because they think he's too old, but he's better. Yeah, I mean he is like 42, but I think obviously a lot better than John McLaughlin. think McLaughlin used to play for Bradford or something like that. He's not really experienced when it comes to these big games. But we'll give him a chance, see how he does tonight. He's not put a foot wrong here, I guess, but not really had any chances against him, but see what happens. But McLaughlin does take the goal kick there. He does find Kolach, who heads it back to Goldson, who then is fouled by Kudos. And it is another Rangers free kick here. Three 0 to the Jazz. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm hoping for a few goals for Rangers now. I do want to see a good game. Obviously, have to sit through Celtic getting pumped last night. But it was still a good game. They played quite well the first half, to be fair to them. But it is Ajax in possession again here with Timber at centre back. Who then lays a ball down the right hand side to find Dusan Tadic, who's running forward at the Rangers defence. He tries to lay a ball forward to Kudos, but it is overhit and it lands at McLaughlin's feet. But quite lively play by Ajax so far. I mentioned yesterday, obviously, when I was doing the Celtic stream, I think Celtic can get a second spot in their group. I think they're more than capable. And the same goes for Rangers. I think, obviously, you got Liverpool there, but I think you can easily get a second spot in the group, not a problem. I don't think Napoli, obviously, not as strong as they used to be. They lost Koulibaly to Chelsea. They've lost, I think it was Insigne went to, was it Insigne and Mertens went to Toronto in the MLS. And I think the team that Rangers have is more than capable of beating Napoli. And even potentially getting a result out of Liverpool as well. They've had a poor start to the season. I think it'll be a close group. On paper, it looks like it's a hard group, but I think Rangers are more than capable of beating any team in that group. But it will be interesting to see how it lays out after the 6 games. It is Daley Blind in possession now for Ajax. He passes the ball across to Calvin Bassey at centre back here. Calvin Bassey now driving the ball forward up the park, back to Daley Blind. David Blind then switching the play across to the other centre-back, Timber. Timber now trying to find Dusan Tadic down the right-hand side, which he does. Tadic then lays a ball onto the overlapping run of Kudos. He then lays it back to Dusan Tadic. He passes it back into the midfield for Berguez to collect. He then passes it back to Calvin Bassey. Maintaining a lot of possession here, Ajax so far, which you kind of expect, but I think Rangers will try and hit him on the counter. But they are in possession again now, Rangers, with Connor Goldson, who lays it off back to McLaughlin. Boots out left to Borna Barisic there, finds Tillman with his pass, first time, who then tries to find Ryan Kent, but is kicked out of play, and it is a Rangers throw-in. Just dropped in. He was looking at the better side. I'd say Ajax so far, the first 8 minutes, they've had the majority of the possession. Had a few chances, nothing clear cut as of yet, but probably had the better of the first 8 minutes. I'd say so. Check Kent's stats where he scores. Yeah, but he's a very good player in the team as well. He's quite a lively player to have if he's setting up goals or assists of assists as well. All contributes to the team in a big way, regardless if he scores a lot of goals or not. But we've got Ajax in possession here now again with Bergwijn down the left hand side. He finds Daley Blind again. Daley Blind back to Bergwijn, running forward down that left hand side, challenging James Tavernier here. He managed to find Alvarez. He puts a low-driven cross into the area, but it is cleared away for a Ajax corner kick. And it will be Bergwijn taking their corners today. It's a nice stadium, the Johan Cruyff Arena. It's a really nice stadium. Tadic gets a ball into the box there, and it's headed over the bar by Kudos. And it's still 0-0, 10 minutes played so far. Yeah, guys, Dan's on holiday. I know a few guys went in the stream yesterday. I was doing the Celtic one last night as well. He will be back on the weekend for the Aberdeen game, and just in case you are wondering. Some of you guys might remember who I am. I was on the streams a few years ago, back when we used to do the face cam. But McLaughlin does take the goal kick. He finds Tillman in the area, but he heads it out of play. It deflects off an Ajax player and it goes out for a Rangers throw-in. Yeah, I put the Lisbon and Frankfurt game on there as well because there was, as far as I knew, I'd checked the foot map. There was no other games on at the same time, so I just put that one on there as well, so you can kind of see what's happening in the other groups as well. And obviously we've got the Napoli one on there as well. Liverpool versus Napoli, but that doesn't start off till 9 o'clock tonight, so 8 o'clock tonight for you guys. But that's the only other game tonight that's playing at the same time as the Rangers one. It is Daley Blind in possession now for Ajax. He passes it across the timber. He's driving forward now with the ball. Finds Dusan Tadic down this right-hand side. There's a good chance here for Ajax. And can they get a ball into the area? He plays a 1-2 and he gets a long driven ball into the box, but it's cleared away by Goldson and it's back out to Calvin Bassey now for Ajax, who's driving forward. Gives it to Daley Blind down that left-hand side. He then finds Bergwijn. Bergwijn cuts to the inside of James Tavernier. Takes a shot. Just goes wide to the right of McLaughlin, and it will be a Rangers goal kick here. Good chance for Ajax there. Good play by Bergwijn, but luckily it was a miss-hit shot, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. McLaughlin plays it short to James Tavernier. He boots the ball long, trying to find Kolac, but it's headed away by the Ajax defenders, but only as far out as to Lundstrom, but he is fouled there, and it will be a Rangers free kick, or does it go out for a throw? And it goes out for a throw instead. But it looked like Lundstrom was fouled there, but the ref said play on, but it does go out for a Rangers throw nonetheless. Tillman just loses possession there for Rangers, and it comes back to Timber's feet, then passes it back to the keeper. He boots it long, trying to find Dusan Tadic down that right-hand side, which he isn't able to do. And it does land into Lundstrom's feet, but it is tackled by the Ajax defender, and it goes back to the Ajax keeper, who then passes it short to Daley Blind. It's Daley Blind still in possession here for Ajax, giving it to Calvin Bassey. Calvin Bassey is one of my favourite Rangers players last year. I thought he was a brilliant player. It's a shame to see him leave, but you got good money for him, I guess. But he's a solid player. It was a good flip as well. Obviously, you bought him really cheap from Leicester, didn't you? And then you sold him for a fair few million. Same with Aribo, and you bought him from Charlton for like $500,000, and you sold him for like 15 or something like that. Good business by Rangers. But it is Dusan Tadic right hand side. Gets across into the box, but it is cleared away by Goldson, and it goes out for a corner kick for Ajax again. It's probably their third corner of the game so far. It's been all Ajax so far. Rangers haven't really had a sniff of the game so far. The corner just comes into the box. There's a low-driven one. He finds an Ajax player on the edge of the box, but his pass is misplaced. And it is now Ryan Kent on the counter-attack for Rangers, going down that left-hand side. He tries to find Kolac with a pass, but it's blocked by the Ajax defence. And it is Dusan Tadic again now down this right-hand side for Ajax. Trying to tee up a ball into the area. Trying to get past Borna Barisic here. He manages to do so, passing it to Kudos, but his first-time shot is blocked by the Rangers defence. And it is Tillman now running forward for Rangers on the counter-attack. He's only got Kent in support here, but he's managed to get past one defender. He lays it off to Kolac to shoot. It's blocked by the Ajax defence, but lands to Kamara on the edge of the box here. Kamara now being forced outside to the left. Passes back to Barisic, trying to line up a cross into the box, but he chooses to pass to Kamara instead. His touch is misplaced, and it lands in the feet of Remsch for Ajax. That's a bit better from Rangers there on the counter-attack. Tillman looking very pacey and lively there. But it is still Ajax in possession now. with Taylor. He passes it back to Calvin Bassey, who passes it across the field to find Bergwijn down that left-hand side. Back to Bassey again. Bassey then finding Alvarez in the midfield. To Daley Blind down that left-hand side now. Trying to get past Tillman. Tillman gets a good tackle in, but still lands in the feet of Taylor for Ajax. His cross is blocked out to another Ajax player here, who's now bombing forward. Lays it off back to Alvarez, who then passes it across to Timber, back at centre-back. Whose pass then finds Tadic down the right-hand side. Ajax still in possession here now with Kudos. He does a long pass up down the right-hand side to find Tadic, which he does do. He tries to get a ball in the first time, but it's blocked, and he goes out for another Ajax corner here. Decent defending from Rangers so far. Not many attacking chances, though. Calvin Bassey has some unit, though, anyway. He's a big, big boy. Hey there, Luke, mate. Hope you and Dan are doing great, guys. Yeah, we're all good. Thanks for that. The corner comes in there. It's headed by Alvarez, and it's in. It's 1-0 Ajax. Ah, it's poor. That is poor. Alvarez makes it 1-0 for Ajax from the corner kick. Calvin Bassey celebrating with him as well. Poor start. It's been all Ajax so far. I mentioned, obviously, that Rangers had defended well so far, but it was a great corner, a great header, and McLaughlin just stood on the spot. He didn't even dive for it. 1-0 Ajax there. Alvarez, the midfielder. It's not the start you wanted, really. You want a good response from Rangers here, though. Don't want to do what happened to Celtic last night when they conceded one and the floodgates open. You just want to stick to the game plan and try and get a quick response out of them. But straight away from Rangers' kickoff, it is Ajax in possession again here with Pasveer, the goalkeeper. He passes to Calvin Bassey, who then gives the ball cross down the left-hand side to Daley Blind. He then passes the ball across to Berghuis in the midfield here. Back to Timber. Not the start you want to do, guys. It's Calvin Bassey now. He gives it down the left-hand side to find Daley Blind, who then finds Bergwijn. Back to Daley Blind, but his touch is misplaced and it goes out for a Rangers throw in their own half, though. I do think Rangers are more than capable of beating Ajax, and it's a poor start, though, straight off the bat. It's not looking good. They do need to change something here. It's not looking great. But they do have a throw-in now, Rangers. It's Tavernier. Tries to find Lundstrom from his throw-in, but is blocked by the Ajax defender, Daley Blind. His pass trying to find Kudos is blocked by Rangers again, and Galton passes it back to McLaughlin. He boots it up long, and that finds the other goalkeeper, Pasveer, and it is Ajax back in possession yet again. He plays it short to Calvin Bassey, who then gives it to Taylor in the midfield for Ajax here. He then finds Tadic down the right-hand side. He's driving forward now with the ball. Back to Berghuis for Ajax in the midfield. He plays a 1-2 with Tadic. Still bombing forward now. On the edge of the area here, potentially trying to get across into the box. He plays it short, though, to Tadic on the edge of the box, and he's tackled nicely there by Borna Barisic, but he still manages to maintain the ball, Tadic. his pass is misplaced, and it comes to Ryan Kent. There's one forward down the left-hand side, but he's tackled by Alvarez, and it will be a Rangers free kick. Interesting to see Tadic's like career progress. Like, he was a kind of an average player at Southampton, and then he just out of nowhere he joined Ajax again. And then that Champions League run that they had, he was a really, really good player. And since then, he's been a fairly decent player for Ajax, but was never really amazing in the Premier League. He was kind of average. He was somewhat decent, but he was never amazing. But it is Ajax possession again here with Kudos up front for the Dutch team. He passes it back to Timber in defence, who then finds Remsch in at right back, giving it back to Kudos in the centre of the park here. Does a nice roulette pass Lundstrom there, gives it out wide to Tadic in the box. He then plays a pass into Alvarez. His shot is blocked by McLaughlin, and it goes out for another Ajax corner kick. Rangers do need to wake up though. Poor start. It's been all Ajax so far. The ball comes in from the corner kick. It isn't nicely as placed as the last one, and it is cleared away comfortably by Tillman there. And it goes out for an Ajax throw-in in Rangers' half. They play their throw-in, but it's intercepted by Rangers, and they are on the attack here now with Barisic down the left-hand side. His pass to try and find Kent is intercepted by Remsch, and it goes out for another Rangers throw-in. There's a good chance there for Ajax earlier on before that corner kick. It was a good save by McLaughlin, to be fair, but they do need to be a bit sharper when they are defending. Barisic is the long ball forward now, trying to find that man right in the right wing spot, but is unable to do so, and it is Ajax back in possession again now with Timber, who then switches the play across to Remsch for Ajax. Gives it back to Bassi, who then finds Alvarez in the midfield here. To Timber. Then to Daley Blind down that left-hand side. Gets a ball in first time. Finds Kudos, takes a shot. It's blocked by McLaughlin. Again, it's a fairly comfortable save in the end, but they got in a really good position there yet again in that box, where Rangers' defence just seemed to open up for them to take a shot. Luckily, the shot was quite weak, but it was more of a pass, really. But it was a poor attempt, but the defence is absolutely shambolic there. But it is right now an attack for Rangers. But his touch does land into Calvin Bassey's feet, and Scott Wright does foul Calvin Bassey trying to win the ball back, and it will be an Ajax free kick, which is taken quickly here. But luckily it lands into James Tabernier's feet, who then switches the play across to Ryan Kent down that left-hand side. He sees Barisic making the overlap run, passes it to him. Good chance here for Rangers. Gets the ball into the box, lands into Kamara's feet, lays it off to James Tavernier, gets the ball back into the box, but it's just overhit. I think the referee's calling for offside from that James Tavernier pass, but it will be an Ajax free kick here. That was a good chance for Rangers there, probably their best chance of the game. They're just showing that that goal again in the corner. There was not really marking Alvarez. He had like an open spot just ahead of the ball and get in the back of the net. He's not exactly the biggest player either. He's quite a small midfielder, so I'm not too sure how he's winning the header in the box. But it is Calvin Bassey now for Ajax. Calvin Bassey passes it to Timber. Back to Calvin Bassey again. He lays it off to Daley Blind. Daley Blind gives it back to Bassey, then passes it back to his keeper. Plays it short back out to Daley Blind here, down the left-hand side. He finds Bergman making a run. Gives it back to Daley Blind again. Daley Blind gives it down to Kudos, who's making a run down the left-hand side as well. It's now Bergman Gets a ball into the box here. It's cleared away by Lundstrom. Another good chance for Ajax there. They're very quick on the attack. And it is Ajax in possession yet again. With Timber, he gives it down to Daley Blind now down that left-hand side. He finds Kudos making that run down the wing. Kudos gives it back to Blind, who then passes it across to Timber. Timber then lays it off to Dusan Tadic down that right-hand side. Tries to get a ball into the box here. He chooses to give it short instead. And then Ajax might have another chance here, but it's cleared away luckily by Goldson there. But only as far out as to Alvarez, who's still in the Rangers box here. Tries to get a ball into the area. It's luckily headed away by Goldson. And it lands into Tillman's feet. But he misplaces his touch and it goes back to the Ajax player again. It's Calvin Bassey now bombing forward for them. Calvin Bassey now down the right-hand side for Ajax. Gives it all the way back to Timber. Timber to Alvarez in the midfield. Alvarez finds Blind down the left-hand side, who then gives it to Kudos. Kudos back to Blind, to Bergwijn. Back to Blind again, and gives it back to Timber. Cross to Calvin Bassey. Then into Taylor in the midfield for Ajax. Ajax just passing it around the park at the moment, just maintaining that possession. They're sitting fairly comfortable so far, knowing they've got that 1-0 lead. And Rangers aren't really causing them any problems as of yet, so they feel quite comfortable just knocking it around the park. But Bergwijn switches the play across to Dusan Tadic down that right-hand side. He sees Kudos making that run into the box, gives it to him. Takes a shot, just goes wide, and it's out for a Rangers goal kick. That's another good chance for Ajax again. It was Taylor with the shot. It just goes wide of the post for McLaughlin. It would have been on the side as well. He probably should have finished that. It was a one-on-one with the keeper. You got to finish those, to be fair. Rangers get off lucky there. There's a really, really good chance for Ajax. It is McLaughlin now to take the Rangers goal kick. 27 minutes played so far, guys, and I have to say it's been all Ajax so far. It's they definitely do deserve their goal. I can't lie, they've dominated Rangers. It's not like Rangers as well. Normally they shout for these European games. It's been a very poor performance so far. Doesn't have had any real chances yet. It's really poor. But it is Rangers now with a throw-in after Tillman knocks it off Dusan Tadic's leg. The throw is played by Barisic to find Sands at centre-back here. Gives it across to James Tavernier down that right-hand side. You've got Glenn Kamara running to the midfield. James Tavernier passes it to him. Back to Tavernier again, who then finds Sands. Sands in possession is tackled, though, by the Ajax player, and they are back in the attack here. That was a really good chance for Ajax. Sands is really sloppy on the ball there. Got tackled by the Ajax midfielder. And they almost had a one-on-one there. Luckily, it was defended in the last second, but really, really poor ball control by Sands at centre-back. Looking really, really sloppy. That's not what you expect in the Champions League. Group stage is really, really poor. And it is Ajax in possession again here now with Timber. He gives it across to Calvin Bassey. Passes it into Alvarez in the midfield there. Back to Bassey again. Got Alvarez back on the ball now. Gives it back to Timber. Timber boots a long ball forward. Finds Dusan Tadic. It's a nice pass. Tadic now gives it to Berghuis. I call him Berghuis. I'm not too sure how you say his name. But Ajax switch the play across now down the left-hand side to find Kudos down the left wing spot. He's running at James Tavernier. Plays it short on the edge of the box here to give it to Berghuis. He tries to play a 1-2 with Tadic, but luckily the Rangers defence do clear it up. And they are back in possession again, but they are being pressed heavily by Ajax here with Bergwijn winning the ball back on the edge of the box. Switches the ball across the Ajax player, takes a shot, it's blocked by Borna Barisic, but it's another good opportunity for Ajax there as well. It goes out for a throw-in for Ajax in Rangers' half. They play it short to find Remst. Remst gives it to Calvin Bassey for Ajax. He then passes it across to Blind. Blind back to Bassey. Bassey turns to his keeper and passes the ball back to him. I want to know what the possession stats of this game are, because it's been, I'll say about 75% Ajax on the ball here. And it is Ajax again now, attacking down the right-hand side with Dusan Tadic. He gets the ball into the area, tries to find Kudos on the header. He's overhits the cross though, and it goes out for a Rangers goal kick. But so it's constant attacks down his left-hand side and his right-hand side here. And, Rangers not defending very well. Another good opportunity there. If he hit that pass correctly, Kudos would have got his head onto that. But luckily for Rangers, he didn't. So it's out for a goal kick for now. Rangers took their goal kick already. It's already landed to an Ajax player, and they have a chance here. And it's Berguos taking a shot down the edge of the box. It goes in. Oh my God, that's so poor by McLaughlin. That is so poor. Did that take a deflection off Sands? Who did that? Berguos took a shot there. It seemed to treacle on the back of the net, and it's 2-0 Ajax now. That was so poor. That was terrible. I need to watch the replay of that. That was really poor. The shot had no power behind it. It was Berguos that took the shot, but I'm not too sure if it took a deflection or not. Because that was a really weak shot, to be honest with you. Berguos takes a shot. Yeah, and it comes off... did it come off Sands' foot? Yeah, it did. It deflected off Sands' foot, but nonetheless, it still stands, and it's 2-0 to Ajax now at home. That was really, really poor by Rangers yet again. It's just constant attacks down that right-hand side for Ajax, and they do make it 2-0 now. I've got to say, they do deserve it so far. It's been terrible, terrible defending by Rangers there. It is James Tavernier in possession now for Rangers. Look, we've seen some magical European nights in the past of Rangers being 2-0 down. One springs to mind. I went to the game live, watched the Braga game where we were 2-0 down at half-time, won the game 3-2. Let's hope for more of the same of that. That was a great night for Rangers, and hopefully we can try and still get something out of this game. It is only 2-0, and it's only the 32nd minute, guys, so... But the way they played so far, I don't see them getting anything out of it. It's been really, really poor. And it is Ajax again now attacking down that left-hand side with Kudos. He takes a shot across goal. It's 3-0. It's 3-0 Ajax, and it's Kudos with a beautiful strike down that left-hand side, bombing past. James Tavernier takes a shot, and it hits the inside of the post and goes into the back of the net. It's 3-0 Ajax. Back-to-back goals just like that. And this is terrible by Rangers. Absolutely terrible. It's 3-0 Ajax. Absolutely stinking performance so far. And it is Kudos with the goal. Kudos. Just like not getting close enough to your man. You're not putting a tackle in. That was poor by Tavernier. He should have tackled him first time before he turned around on him. It was just really, really poor. And then he ended up chasing the man and didn't have the legs for it. That was just terrible defending. Brilliant strike by the player himself, though, off the inside of the post into the back of the net. And it is 3-0 Ajax. Straight from kickoff. Straight from the Rangers kickoff there. Guys, what are your thoughts on this so far? This has been absolutely stinking for Rangers. Absolutely stinking. It is Rangers now again on the ball here with Goldson. He lays it off to James Tavernier. Again, he's running forward down at the right-hand side, but he's made a... Daley Blind gets a tackle on him. He's just so sloppy today. He just can't keep control of the ball. But it is a Rangers throw-in anyway, but still just losing possession straight away as soon as you get the ball. It's just really poor. Again, with Connor Goldson there getting tackled again. It's out for another Rangers throw-in. They throw it back to Sands here for Rangers. He switches it across to Borna Barisic down that left-hand side. Hopefully we can maintain the possession for more than 5 passes now. This is really, really poor. It's Connor Goldson in possession now for Rangers. Gives it to Sands, who's driving forward now with the ball. Off to Borna Barisic on that left-hand side. So far, Kent and Tillman and all these creative players have been quiet, not seen anything of them so far. Rangers not getting enough the ball. It is Borna Barisic now with a sloppy pass into the centre of the park here. Ajax get the ball back and take a shot here. No, luckily they try to pass it across the pitch to the to Tadic, but James Tavernier does intercept it, but it's just sloppy control by Lundstrom there on the edge of the box. It could have been 4 there so easily. It is Calvin Bassey now in possession for Ajax. Gives it across to Timber. Guys, what are your thoughts on Gio? Is it his problem here? Is it his fault that this is happening, or can you not really blame him? You just blame the players or the recruitment, or I don't know what it would be. But it's only, you're not being terrible in the league, but this is it's not like Rangers at all. This is just really, really poor. All Ajax so far it's not like Rangers, especially on a European night. And it is Ajax still in possession here with Blind. He gives it to Taylor here, but it's luckily called for offside, and it will be a Rangers free kick. Got a couple of the Rangers players warming up already down the touchline. We've got Morelos there doing his sprints, but I think it's still a bit too early now to bring him on. And it's not necessarily anything Kolac has done wrong, it's just the defence has been absolutely poor. If I had to take anyone off the pitch, it'd be Sands. Sands has been absolutely stinking so far this game. And Goldson's not been much better either. But it is Ryan Kent now in possession down his left-hand side for Rangers. He's got 2 men on him, and Alvarez does tackle him, and it goes out for a Rangers throw-in. First time they've been in Ajax half the last 10 minutes here. So something hopefully positive can come out of this. It will be Barisic to take the throw-in. Barisic gives it back to Lundstrom in the midfield there. He finds Glenn Kamara. He's put under a lot of pressure straight off the bat by Taylor, but luckily he gives it back to Connor Goldson before he's tackled. Connor Goldson now driving forward up the park with the ball. Past one man here. Lays it off the Kolac here, but Calvin Bassey just out-strengthening him, and it goes out for an Ajax goal kick. Just really poor play again by Rangers there on the attack, but Calvin Bassey using his strength to his advantage. But it is an Ajax goal kick. Guys, what are your thoughts so far? If you're watching the game as well, do you want to see a certain player taken off at all? I think Sands has been absolutely stinking this game. Goldson's been poor as well. Tavernier, the whole defence, it's hard to pick just one, but he needs to make a change at the back. I think it's been really, really poor. I don't know why McLaughlin is playing either. He's absolutely terrible this game so far. But it is Ajax in possession again here with their keeper laying up a ball to Timber. He's driving forward now with the ball. He gives it out to Dusan Tadic now down the right hand side. Back to Hemsch at right back. Across to Dusan Tadic again down that right hand side. Skills past Barisic. Gets a ball into the area here with Bergwijn trying to dip a ball into the area as well, but it's cleared away by Glenn Kamara. But only as far out as to Taylor here. Taylor now passes to Bergwijn down that left hand side. He cuts inside Bergwijn. Pass right. Gives it to Daley Blind and then gives it back to Bassey. Bassey then switches it across to Timber. They're just creating spaces with their passes, and Rangers can't keep up with it. It's really, really poor setup at the back. I'm seeing now like 7 Rangers players in the box just trying to defend against Ajax, but they still managed to get past them. It's just stinking. It is Bassey now who passes it across the Timber. The Blue-Brown being positive here saying 4-3 Rangers by the end of the game. That will be some game if that happens. But it is Taylor now with a shot. Good save by McLaughlin, but it lands straight into Kudos' path. He gets the ball into the box here, tries to find Bergwijn, but it's cleared away by James Tavernier. But another good chance from the Taylor shot there. But it was a good save by McLaughlin, to be fair. But it is Ajax in possession again here with Bergwijn. He gives it back to Timber. Back to Bergwijn again. Bergwijn then finds Alvarez. Gives it back to Timber. Across to Calvin Bassey now as well. Calvin Bassey passing it across to Daley Blind down the left-hand side. He then finds Kudos. But he tries to do a keep-you-up flick over the defender's head and it goes out of play for a Rangers throw-in. But Ajax playing with flair and confidence now as well, being 3-0 up. This is a stroll in the park for them so far. Brushing Rangers aside. And it is Timber now for Ajax, trying to dip a ball across to Hemsch, who's making a run down the right-hand side. He gets the ball to him, gives it to Alvarez. Alvarez tries to play a 1-2 to him by backleaning, but it lands in the feet of Wright in the midfield there. And then Wright tries to boot a long ball forward for Kent to chase, but it's overhit and it lands in the path of Paziva, the Ajax keeper, and Ajax are back in possession yet again with Timber now. Good save, Agent McLaughlin. Only thing he's done all game. But it is Calvin Bassey now for Ajax. 41 minutes played so far, guys. Got another 4 minutes left of normal time, or 3 minutes left even, plus injury time if there is any to play. And it is Ajax still in possession with Kudos now, just making it look easier across the park now, just dribbling it around the Rangers defence. Gives it across to Calvin Bassey, who then finds Berghuis. Berghuis lays it off to Daley Blind down the left-hand side, back to Bassey. Then gives it to Taylor in the midfield, then passes it back to Timber here. Timber back to Taylor. Taylor across to Calvin Bassey, who's sitting in a left-back position at the moment, whilst Ajax are in possession. Gives it across to Timber. Timber tries to find Bergwijn in the centre spot, but his first-time touch is intercepted by Sands, and it just lands back in the path of an Ajax player, though. And it's Calvin Bassey now back on the ball for Ajax. Gives it across to Daley Blind here. Blind plays a 1-2 with Bergwijn as he makes a run forward. Receives the ball back, gives it to Taylor. Does a back heel back to Blind here, and Ajax might have another chance here. On the edge of the box. Calvin Bassey gets the ball back here for Ajax. And it is Taylor now down this left-hand side. Gets the ball into the area to find Bergwijn. Tries to pass it instead of taking a shot. Comes back out to Taylor, takes a shot. Saved by McLaughlin, luckily. But another good Ajax chance. It was actually Tadic with the last shot there, sorry. But another somewhat decent save by McLaughlin. But again, Ajax is running rings past Rangers so far. And it is an Ajax throw-in here in Rangers' half. And I have to say, it's been all one-sided this half. Blind passes the ball across to Alvarez in the centre of the park here. Alvarez finds Kudos. He gives it back to Alvarez again. Alvarez to Berghuis. Berghuis plays it down the right-hand side to Tadic. You've got Alvarez making a run here down the right-hand side. He finds him. Back to Tadic again. Tadic and lays it back to Timber. Timber back to Berghuis. Berghuis now to Hemsch. Hemsch passing it back to Timber, who then gives it into Kudos in the centre of the park. Back to Bassey. Back up to Alvarez again. Alvarez then finds Hemsch. Hemsch then gives it to Tadic down that right-hand side. He tries to pass the ball beyond Kamara, but it goes out of play. And it comes off Sands, and it will be a Ajax corner kick again. They obviously scored their first goal from their corner kick, so hopefully we can defend this one well and not make it 4-0 before half-time. But it's been really, really poor so far by Rangers. It's been really disappointing to watch. Probably one of the worst performances I've seen by Rangers in the first half. It's been really, really poor. The ball comes in from the corner. It's somewhat saved by McLaughlin. He manages to catch it. good retrieve in the end from the corner kick. And Rangers do get the ball back here. And he rolls it out to Connor Goldson, who gives it to James Tavernier. Across to John Lundstrom here in the centre of the park. Lundstrom then switches the play across to Borna Barisic down that left-hand side. Can we try and get one back before half-time? We've got about 40 seconds left. We are now in injury time here. There's 1 minute added on. It is Connor Goldson now. Gives it down to James Tavernier. James Tavernier passes it back to Connor Goldson here. Push the ball forward, guys. Stop passing it on the back. You need to make something happen. It's been really, really poor. It is Scott Wright now. Gives it back to Borna Barisic. Barisic back to Connor Goldson. It's about 10 seconds left of this half now, guys. Connor Goldson tries to do a long ball forward, trying to find Kolach. But it is intercepted by the Ajax midfield, and it lands to Daley Blind, who then gives it back to Timber, who then finds Bassi. And that is the first half, guys. It ends 3-0 for the first half. All Ajax so far. Really, really poor performance. What are you guys' thoughts on that first half for Rangers? A lot needs to be changed in the second half. I don't want to be in that dressing room when Gio is giving them an absolute thumping, like stinking first half performance there. Not great. I said 2-1 Rangers this game. It's been really, really poor. All right, guys, I'm going to take a little 15-minute break whilst it is half-time. I'll be back for the second half, and hopefully we can make something happen in that second half, because that first half was absolutely appalling. But I'll be back in 15 minutes. All right, guys. So we're nearly back away for the second half. But before the second half starts, I do want to quickly discuss something as well. It's about the kind of trickle effect of obviously Tuchel being sacked by Chelsea. So if you don't know, Tuchel was sacked by Chelsea today. Graham Potter is the favourite to take over as Tuchel's successor at Chelsea. And there's a lot of speculation regarding if that does happen, who's going to replace Graham Potter at Brighton. And I believe one of the names that was thrown around in the hat was Ange Postecoglou, the Celtic manager as well. So I want to know, first of all, if you think there's a high possibility that he could go across to Brighton. Obviously, he's done an excellent job at Celtic since he's been there for the last year and so. And he's quite a strong favourite to take over at Brighton. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on that as well quickly before the second half is underway. Do you think he's potentially could go across to Brighton and take over at that club? Or do you think he's pretty happy at Celtic and wants to get 2 in a row this year? Quickly comment down below what you think will happen regarding that situation. First of all, if Graham Potter does go to Chelsea, then obviously Brighton will be without a manager, and I think he probably will be one of the names in the running for that position. So let me know your thoughts quickly about that as well before we get started for the second half. As well as that, there has been a few substitutions for Rangers going into the second half. I'll quickly read them out to you before we do get underway. Ange would leave Celtic for Brighton in a heartbeat. Ange is off, money talks. Yeah, that's obviously a massive factor as well. We are back underway here for the second half. I will quickly read through the substitutions before I do some commentation. Let's have a little look. Yeah, obviously money's a big factor as well. He probably could go to the Premier League just for the fact of the paycheck he will get as well. So it's James Tavernier has actually been taken off for Leon King. Leon King has come off for Rangers, and the captain Tavernier has come off the park. It's a big call by Gio, but Tav hasn't had a great game. He's kind of been brushed aside by Tadic down that right hand. That's not Tadic, by Bergwijn down that left hand side. But it is Ajax in possession again here. They did have the kickoff for the second half. It is the keeper Pasveer in possession, boots it up long, trying to find Kudos up front there. It is intercepted by the Rangers defence, but only as far as to Calvin Bassey's feet. And just going to Brighton. Gio going to Brighton. I don't think Gio's going. I'm telling you, Ange's off to Brighton. He rejected this offer to Brighton. What are you saying? Is that true? Did he reject an offer from Brighton? I don't think anything's happened yet regarding Potter. I know he's in contract talks with Chelsea, but as far as things stand, he's still Brighton manager. So I don't think he has been contacted by Brighton as of yet. It is Calvin Bassey now in possession for Ajax. He gives it down to Daley Blind down that left-hand side. He tries to find Bergwijn making that run, but Glenn Kamara does intercept it, and he passes it back to Connor Goldson. Goldson plays it across to Leon King. As well as Scott Wright has come off the park as well, and Matondo is on in replacement for him as well. So Rabi Matondo is on the park now instead of Scott Wright. Scott Wright was very quiet that game, but so was the majority of the Rangers attack. Didn't really have any chances in that first half. Hopefully we can have a second better half. It was really, really poor. Ange ain't going nowhere. Tav's off. Yeah, Tav is off the park, guys. Very, very poor first half from Tavernier. Not like him in the European games. Normally the pivotal point of the team. Second half there. But it is Bergwijn now down this left-hand side for Ajax. He could potentially get a good cross in the box here. He lays it off back to Daley Blind on the edge of the box. He's challenged by Kamara, and Kamara does win the ball and give it back to Connor Goldson. And it is Rabi Matondo now down that right-hand side for Rangers. And Matondo does win a foul, I believe, for Rangers, and it will be a Rangers free kick. Lively start from himself there. Obviously, we've still got Morelos on the bench there. Hopefully, he can come on later on and make an impact. There are 5 substitutions in the European games, so it's not an issue in terms of that. The Rangers are woeful, seriously. Yeah, very poor half for Rangers. But if they have a good half here, it'll be exactly the same as what Celtic had yesterday. Had a great first half, but poor second half. So hopefully Rangers can get a positive second half here and potentially get a few goals back. It's a tall order to ask, though, to get 3 goals in one half. But if Ajax can get 3, Rangers can get 4. That's the way I see it. The ball comes in for the free kick. It is headed by the Rangers attacker. It was headed by Kolach there, but it was headed wide, and it will go for an Ajax goal kick. You do have to forgive me as well, guys. I am trying to familiarise myself with the numbers and link up the players as well. So sometimes I'm a bit slow when it comes to the player names, but I do know who they are. It's just trying to link the numbers to the names. But it was a good delivery initially from the free kick, and it was Borna Barisic with the header, but it was a poor header and it went out wide, and it is a Ajax goal kick there. This is Ajax, the game that you think they'd have a slight chance against. What will Liverpool do to them? Well, the way I see it, I think, for me, Liverpool are no doubt the strongest team in the group. I think then probably it is Ajax, and I'd say Rangers are the third strongest. I don't think Napoli are this massive team that people are scared of anymore. You know, they lost Koulibaly, they've lost, I think it's Insigne they lost as well. Dries Mertens isn't, I think he's gone as well. So a lot of their really good players are no longer there. So they aren't as strong as they used to be. Definitely not an easy side though. And they are in Amsterdam as well, guys, so it is an away game, but no, when they're at the Ibrox, it's a different experience altogether. Right, enough is enough. Sand is not and never will be at centre half. The fact that all we got is shocking. 26 million for Bassi, and we have is Sands. Yeah, Sands is poor this game. Probably one of the worst players in the park I've seen so far. And it is Ajax attacking now down this right hand side again, with Tadic and Berghuis. Berghuis delivers it into the box there, trying to find Kudos, but it is intercepted by Connor Goldson there. He lays it off back to McLaughlin. And I don't want to see McLaughlin start another game in Europe for Rangers. He's been absolutely poor tonight. Made a few good saves from distance, but it's what you expect from him, really. And it is Kudos now for Ajax down this left-hand side. It's a good tackle by Sands there, actually. And it does fall back to Bassi here for Ajax. Managed to keep it in play. For me, McLaughlin's nowhere near European standard. He for me is a League One goalkeeper, and he always will be. He's not good enough. He's about 30 years old as well, as far as I know, and he's not going to get better either. McGregor may be 41, 42 years old, but the guy's an absolute legend at the club, and he should be respected and played every game, really. He's an absolutely brilliant keeper. But we've seen last season in Europa League, he made some really good saves that, helped Rangers out. And he has got a mistake in him, fair enough, but at the same time, I'd rather him than McLaughlin any day of the week, really. McLaughlin is poor. It is a free kick for Ajax here. They play it short. It was a foul by the Rangers player. And they are attacking down the left-hand side now with Bergwijn. Bergwijn lays it off back to Daley Blind here. Blind gives it to Taylor. Taylor now pushes it into the inside of the midfield to Calvin Bassey. And what I've noticed about Ajax as well, straight away from the second half, they aren't sitting back, they aren't soaking up any Rangers pressure, they are still attacking, trying to get more goals as well. Because if you are competing for that second place spot, goal difference and goals against and stuff like that can be a big factor as well in the dying stages of the group stage. So they do want as many goals as they can possibly get tonight. And it is Calvin Bassey again in possession for Ajax. He lays it across the Timber, back to Calvin Bassey again. Calvin Bassey gives it to Tadic down that left-hand side, but it is intercepted by the Rangers defence, McLaughlin now. McLaughlin boots it long, trying to find Matonda in that midfield. He finds Glenn Kamara instead, but Glenn Kamara's touch is given back to Calvin Bassey straight away, and he gives it straight to Timber. Timber now back to Calvin Bassey. Calvin Bassey to Kudos. Kudos is a really interesting player to watch as well. He's obviously he's playing as a striker tonight, but he's quite often down that left-hand side as well, and making runs towards their own defence to collect the ball and pick up the ball and run forward with it. He looks like quite a flexible player up front for Ajax, and he's played really well so far. Obviously got his goal as well earlier on, but for me, he's been my standout player for Ajax. I think he's probably so far the man of the match. It is Alvarez now, though, in possession for Ajax. He switches the play across down that left-hand side to find Daley Blind. Blind now in possession. He lays it off back to Berghuis. Berghuis now driving forward, gives it to Kudos, trying to play a 1-2, but he's tackled nicely there by Lundstrom. And Rangers are attacking now down this left-hand side with Ryan Kent. Ryan Kent gets past one Ajax player there. He sees Ryan Jack making the overlap run, manages to pass it to him, gives it back to Ryan Kent again. Then lays it back to Borna Barisic here. Then finds Glenn Kamara in that midfield. Gives it to Connor Goldson. Goldson then switches the play across down that right-hand side. Back to Connor Goldson again. John Lundstrom now gives it to Borna Barisic down that left-hand side. Barisic does quite a heavy pass into Ryan Kent into the centre of the park, and then Ryan Kent is fouled by Alvarez, and it will be a Rangers free kick. It's a better start from Rangers the second half. Still not amazing, but they've had more possession. They are kind of trying to create chances as well. It's a bit better by them. Still not enough to create a chance or a goal here. Brighton are a bigger club than Celtic. I'll disagree with that. Brighton are a tiny club. Obviously, money talks there. And at the end of the day, you've seen Steven Gerrard leave to go to Aston Villa, for God's sake. He's stinking. What are your thoughts on Steven Gerrard's performance as an Aston Villa manager? He's been pretty poor. Borna Barisic with a ball into the box there. Because obviously he had that, I can't remember his name. Dan was telling me about him, that coach that he had at Rangers initially when Gerrard was there. He now manages QPR, and since then Gerrard's performance as a manager has gone down the pan for Aston Villa. So it's interesting to see him not doing so well now. Hopefully for him, the money was enough for him. He chose money over legacy. Rangers free kick does come into the box, and it was headed over the bar by Sands, and it will be an Ajax goal kick. Alvarez claiming for a foul there on himself by Goldson. He's holding the back of his head, but I don't think the referee's given it. Where's Dan? Yeah, Dan's on a plane right now, guys. Obviously, I'll keep mentioning it just in case people are joining a bit late, are wondering where he is. He's on a flight back from Mallorca. He was soaking up in the sun for a few days. So I thought I'd help him out on the channel whilst he's away. He's a bit gutted though. He wanted to watch this game tonight, but I don't think he'd be very happy with the performance by Rangers, to be fair. It's probably better that he missed this game, to be honest. It's stinking by Rangers. We have got a Rangers throw in here now in their own half, down that right-hand side. It is King to take it. He gives it back to Connor Goldson. He gives it back to McLaughlin. Plays a heavy pass back to Connor Goldson. A heavy touch. Luckily, he manages to control it in the end and give it back to McLaughlin again. He passes it down that left-hand side to find Sands. Sands gives it to Barisic now. Rangers being put under a lot of pressure in their own half here, passing it around the back. It's really, really poor performance. It's absolutely stinking. They're passing it around the back in their own half, and Ajax are constantly pressing them, trying to get the ball back. And Rangers are flapping. They ended up booting out a play there for an Ajax throw-in. And it is Ajax in possession again here now with their keeper. He plays the ball forwards to find Alvarez in the midfield. He sees Bergwijn making that run down the left-hand side. He does a long ball forward. He does manage to find him. Bergwijn now cutting inside in the park. Gives it to Kudos on the edge of the box here, who lays it back to Taylor, who then passes it back to Blind. Blind then giving it back to Taylor down that left-hand side. Back to Blind again. Blind then to Alvarez in the midfield. Back to Bassi. I don't know much about this Ajax manager. I think he used to be the Barcelona assistant manager a few years ago. But the style of play they got tonight has been really, really solid. There's quick passes cutting through the Rangers team. Looking really, really solid, to be fair. And it is Calvin Bassey now driving forward with the ball through the centre of the park. He finds Kudos here. Kudos' first touch is kind of misplaced, and it does manage to pass it to his teammate, but his passes misplaced, and just find Borna Barisic, who is fouled here, and it will be a ref says play on, and it's cleared away by Rangers defence to Glenn Kamara, and Glenn Kamara heads on to Ryan Kent, but Ryan Kent does lose possession again, and it is back in Ajax's feet for Calvin Bassey to collect. Calvin Bassey then finds Berghuis. Berghuis back to Calvin Bassey again. Back to Berghuis. Berghuis then finds Kudos. Kudos switches it across to Blind. Blind then passes it across to Bergwijn down that left-hand side. Brilliant bit of footwork by Bergwijn then to get past Leon King. But he is fouled on the edge of the area there, but the ref says play on. It's not a foul according to the referee there. And Rangers up on the forward through the park now with John Lundstrom. John Lundstrom's pass to try and find his Rangers teammate is intercepted by Ajax again, and they are back in possession yet again. 60 minutes played so far. Still 3-0. What are you guys saying in the chat? Rangers need another goalie. Absolutely, massively. You think back to Celtic a few years ago when they had Barkas in there. They were stinking. Obviously got Joe Hart, who's a bit more reliable, and they've played really well since adding him and a few more players into the team. I think Rangers really do need a new goalkeeper. I think, in my opinion, the recruitment wasn't the best in the summer for Rangers. You got a fair few good players. Obviously, Kolac has done well since he signed. You obviously got Tillman on loan from Bayern Munich, who's been fairly positive since he signed as well. But other than that, it's not been great. Yilmaz, I haven't really seen much of him play, so I can't really comment on him. But Ajax do get a ball into the box there, and it is cleared away through Sands by the header, and it will go out for a Ajax corner kick here. As well as the investment, I feel like by the Rangers owners isn't great either as well. You're using the money that you got from players that you've sold. You use money from Arrigo and Bassi, and you sign some players, but there's no actual investment from the owners themselves as far as I can see. You do need some better players. I wouldn't say they're skint though, really. You got, a couple of million from both Bassi and Ariba. And the owners didn't really invest any of their own money. And you got to the Champions League group stages as well. You could have used some of that money as well to get in to strengthen the squad. And it is Ajax again now down this right-hand side with Tadic trying to get a ball into the box here. He manages to do so, but it does land into Sands, who needs it back to McLaughlin to collect. And he rolls out to John Lundstrom here. John Lundstrom now trying to pick a pass. He tries to find Kolac there, but his pass was intercepted. But luckily it fell to Kamara's feet, who's now bombing forward down the centre of the pitch. We've got now Matondo in support on that right-hand side, but he does choose to switch the player across to try and find Ryan Jack. But Ryan Jack just fouled Tadic in an attempt to try and get the ball, and it is a Ryan Jack yellow card here, guys. And it will be an Ajax free kick at the same time in the centre of the park. I'll sort out this line-up for you quickly. So a little bit better from Rangers the second half, but still it's been mostly Ajax. It is a clear yellow card as well, to be fair. $100 million losses since 2018, yeah. Sands is due for another own goal. It is Ajax in possession still, though, with Hemsch at right back here. He gives it back to Timber, who passes it back to his keeper. It's a positive sign that I see Kolac putting a bit of pressure on the Ajax defence, but other than that, there's not much else happening on Rangers' half. Ajax still in possession now with Tadic down that right-hand side. He gives it into Taylor, into the centre of the park. Taylor then passes it down to Tadic down that right-hand side. Tadic then finds Kudos in the centre of the midfield here. Back to Tadic down that right-hand side. Can he get across into the box here? He chooses to play it short instead. Gives it back out to Kudic on the outside of the box. To Tadic again. Tadic then to Hemsch, the right back. Gets a ball into the box. Headed away comfortably by Sands, but only as far out as to Bassi. Bassi gives it back to Timber. Timber switches the play across down to Bergwijn down the left-hand side. but it's intercepted nicely by Leon King there. And it goes out for an Ajax throw-in Rangers' half. They throw it back to Blind here. Blind gives it to Calvin Bassey. Calvin Bassey to Timber. Timber then finds Kudos. Back to Bassey again. Bassey trying to find a pass for Bergwijn to collect, but it's intercepted by Rangers, but it does land back into Timber's feet. And Timber gives it back to Calvin Bassey again. Calvin Bassey to Alvarez. Alvarez now to Blind. Blind back to Bassey. Ajax slowing down the tempo of the game a little bit here. Ryan Jack has a poor man, Ada McGeady. Ada McGeady is the old original skillful player, and he's a very skillful player, Ada McGeady. Got Bergwijn here. Finds Daley Blind. Blind to Taylor. Back to Blind. Blind back to Bassey. Bassey to Timber. Timber does a long driven ball forward to find Taylor. Taylor finds Kudos. Kudos here. Through the Rangers defence. Oh my God. They clear it away luckily. That's a brilliant run by Kudos there. Through two Rangers defenders, past Goldson, past Sands. Luckily, Lundstrom was there to clear it out for a Ajax throw in there. That was a really good chance for Ajax out of nothing there by Kudos just dribbling through the Rangers defence. And it almost seems like Lundstrom is now dropping back as an extra defender for Rangers to soak up that pressure that Ajax are putting on them, which is not very good considering you're 3-0 down. You need to be a bit more attacking, but you just can't get a break here. Ajax are ruthless this game, all over them. It is an Ajax throw-in now here in Rangers' half. It is Blind to take it. Blind passes it back to Taylor. Taylor then back to Timber. Timber back to Blind. Blind then finds Bergwijn. He's past Leon King there. He tries to find Kudos. He takes a shot, but I think he fouled Goldson in the process of taking the shot. But I think the referee says it's a corner kick nonetheless. And it's an Ajax corner kick here. They play it short. Managed to get a ball into the box here. It's headed over the bar and it's out for a Rangers goal kick. But Ajax in a non-stop here. Constant pressure on that Rangers defence. Rangers making Kudos looking like Messi. Yeah, he's been brilliant this game, Kudos. He's loved it playing against that Rangers defence. Probably in particular Sands. But Rangers are on the attack here. Down that right-hand side. With Katunde. He gets a ball into the box. Ryan Kent there just hits it over the bar. And it goes out for an Ajax goal kick. That's probably Rangers' best chance of the half so far. Or probably the best chance of the game so far. It's a brilliant ball into the box for Ryan Kent to collect. It just goes over. It might even be a corner shout there as well. It might have come off the Ajax's defence. But Gio does not look like a happy man. It was a goal kick, which they play short to find Calvin Bassey there. Calvin Bassey then passing it into Alvarez in the midfield. Alvarez passing it up long to find Tadic. Tadic then finds Hemsch. Hemsch now back to Tadic. Tadic takes a shot. Good save with McLaughlin there on his feet, on his right foot. It comes back to Lundstrom there. It was a really good chance for Ajax there. It was actually Bergwijn that took the shot. A really good opportunity for them to make it 4, but it was a really good save by McLaughlin. Nice play there by Ajax, but it probably would have been offside nonetheless, but still a good save by McLaughlin. That's a bit more like it for the keeper. Gio to Brighton. There's no chance of that, guys. This is 6 minutes behind. Shouldn't be. About. I'm on the 68th minute here, which is the same as the live timer. I've got BT Sports. It shouldn't be behind or anything like that. I don't think Rangers will finish third or fourth in the league, guys. I think that position's more than occupied by Hearts there, third. But it is Bergwijn now down the left-hand side for Ajax again. Gets past Lundstrom. Trying to tee up a ball into the area. He passes it to Daley Blind, but he then passes it back to Bergwijn. He takes a shot from distance. It's saved quite comfortably by McLaughlin. But he's been brilliant tonight, Bergwijn as well, on that left-hand side. For me, all the Ajax team has been amazing. Obviously, you can't really say much about the keeper in their half because he hasn't really had anything to save. But the rest of the Ajax team has been brilliant. It is Rangers in possession now with Barisic driving forward from defence. Tries to get a pass to try and find Kolac, but it's intercepted quite comfortably by Alvarez in the midfield. And it's just a poor pass by Barisic. Nothing's working tonight for Rangers. 70 minutes played so far, guys. And McGregor's warming up here on the touchline. Probably nothing in it, but he'd probably be disappointed with his team's performance and his goalkeeper partner's performance tonight. It's been fairly sublime, really. It's been really poor, really, really poor. But it is Rangers in possession again here with Connor Goldson. Connor Goldson passing it to King. King here now passing it across to Glenn Kamara. Gets a long ball forward to try and find Ryan Kent. Ryan Kent's making a nice run here down the left-hand side. Needs some players in support here. Ryan Kent trying to get a ball into the box. He finds Barisic instead. Barisic takes a shot. It's 3-1. Rangers get a goal back. It's ball to Barisic here. But I think it's offside by the... Is it offside by the referee or is it not celebrating? It is 3-1 for Rangers. For Ajax here. Rangers get a goal back with Borna Barisic. A lovely strike by Borna Barisic there on the edge of the box. But I think it will be called for offside for the initial pass from King to Kent. And it might stay 3-0 here, guys. But it was a really good strike by Barisic. Out of nothing, really. We'll have a little look. I'm pretty sure it was offside there. It's hard to tell because I haven't got the commentary on here, but it does look like it was a clear offside. And by the players' reactions when the goal went in, it does look like it was offside. But that's a bit more like it, though. They are checking the goal now with VAR, but I think it will be offside. We will see, though. We will see. Yeah, I think it is offside, guys. They are checking it still, though. It's a lovely strike by Barisic, to be fair. It's probably the first shot on target for Rangers this game. And someone commented down below that they've had 23% possession. Which sums up their night. Yeah, it is offside, guys. It looked like that Bassey could have been potentially keeping them on, but it was just offside. It's unfortunate, but that is the case, unfortunately. And it is Ajax now back in possession here with Bassey. Bassey finds Blind. Then sees Bergwijn making that run forward down the left-hand side. He's managed to find him with a pass, but it's a good tackle by Leon King there. And it goes out for an Ajax throw-in, I think, just by the corner flag. It's now Bassey in possession for Ajax. He finds Timber. Timber now to Alvarez. Ajax still yet to make a substitution, which is interesting. 72 minutes played so far. Whereas Rangers have made 3 already at half-time. I do want to see Morelos come on, though. I want to see if he can add something to the game. But it is Ajax now attacking down the right-hand side with Tadic. Tadic then passing it into the midfield for Bargois. Bargois back to Calvin Bassey. Back to Bargois. Berghuis. Berghuis again now. Back to Bassey. To Timber. Timber now to Blind. Back to Timber again. Timber now to Hemst. Hemst to Kalambasi. A nice pass into the midfield there to find Taylor, but Taylor tries to dummy it onto the striker, but the Rangers defence read it. And it goes out for an Ajax throw-in here. Or Rangers throw-in, sorry. Kalambasi just collects it. Kalambasi now to Timber. Back to Kalambasi to Blind. Now to Bergwijn down that left-hand side. Bergwijn passing it back to Blind. Back to Bergwijn again. Tackled nicely there by Lundstrom, who passed it back to McLaughlin. Someone just said, I've just seen Ange in Glasgow. He's off to Brighton, I think. What do you think the final score will be? I think it'll probably stay 3-0, to be honest with you. I don't see Rangers getting a goal. It probably could be 4-0, potentially 5-0. But I'm hoping for the best. Yeah, it's just a 3-0. But again, this half has been majority Ajax. It's been slightly better by Rangers. And Ajax are in possession again now with Kalambasi. I've just seen Angela Witherspoon's howling at this game. Time to get back to the training ground to start out his team as well. After last night's pumping. Got Daily Blind there, sorry, down the left-hand side, but his pass to him was overhit, and it goes out for a Rangers throw-in their own half here. Connor Goldson now wins a header. Trying to find Kolac, but it's headed away by Kalambasi, but only as far as to Lundstrom there. He heads it back out to the Rangers attacker. It's back and forth here between the Ajax defence and the Rangers defence playing headers across the park, but Ajax do win that battle, and it goes back to the Ajax keeper here. Hoping for the best, 15-0. It's not been a good week for Rangers, to say the least. Someone just said there 7 goals conceded in a week. But it's not been a great week for Scotland and Europe, though, is it, really? I actually play a ball forward there to try and find Bergwijn, but it's offside, and it's going to be a Rangers free kick here. About 15 minutes left to play, guys, of this half plus stoppage time. Rangers have done well to minimise the damage. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think it could be a lot worse. Davies is now coming on for Glenn Kamara. Bit of experience in the park here now. The fossil that is Davies. Absolutely love that man. But it is still a Rangers free kick here, and it is going to be Sands that takes it. Sands has been better the second half as well, to be fair. He's not been as poor as he was the first. But their free kick doesn't go to anything, and it is now Ajax back in possession now with Bassi again. He's had a really good game, Bassi, for Ajax defensively. Saying that, not been too much to do. Here's now Tadic here. Gives it to Hemsch down that right-hand side for Ajax. Gives it into the middle of the park for Alvarez to collect. Alvarez now switching the play down that left-hand side to try and find Bergwijn, but it is intercepted by Leon King, and then King just pass out to Kamara here. Kamara now to Davies for his first touch of the game. but its first touch is overhit, and it goes out for an Ajax throw in here. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream as well. We're on about 81 likes at the moment. Try and get to 100 before the game finishes. That'd be much appreciated. It is Goldson now in possession for Rangers. This kind of show the difference between Ajax and PSV though, because Rangers did well against PSV in the second leg. And Ajax just looked like a whole different team. They're a lot stronger. Oh, I think Rangers have just been poor though overall. Here's Barisic now for Rangers. With a misplaced pass, and it lands in the feet of Kudos, and it's Bergwijn, sorry, it's 4-0 Ajax, it's 4-0, and it's Bergwijn who pulled a muscle as he scored the goal. It's 4-0 Ajax. That was stinking defending yet again by Rangers. Absolutely terrible. Bergwijn with number 4, and he's lying down on the floor now in absolute agony. I think he's pulled his calf muscle or something like that. But Jack will be disappointed with his error there in the build up to that goal. Very poor. But it is 4-0, guys. There was a pass from Barisic to Jack. Jack tries to pass it back to Goldson, but it lands in the path of Bergwijn. Bergwijn collects the ball, then slots it away, rounds the keeper, and then slots it in the back of the net. And it is 4-0. A night to forget for Rangers. This will only make Rangers stronger though. When they bring Ajax to Ibrox, it's going to be a different story, mark my words. They'll have a revenge in their sights. So this is embarrassing. Could it be back-to-back 4-0 defeats for Glasgow Rangers? We will find out. It's been a very close game. Ajax just took their chances, we didn't. I would disagree. I think the first half in particular, I think it's been all Ajax. I think Rangers are absolutely stinking. And I think the second half, Rangers have been better. They've had a fair few good chances here with Kent and the Barisic shot that was offside. But yeah, but you are right in what you're saying. Ajax have took their chances, but they've actually missed a fair few as well, which they could have been a lot more. But Ajax are making some substitutions now after seeing Bergwijn injuring himself a little bit there. So I'll go through those now with you. I can see Klassen's coming on here for Ajax. Bergwijn's coming off, just scored that goal. Yuri Bass is coming on for Daley Blind as well. Lucas Ocampos is coming on for Steven Bergwijn. He gets a loud cheer off the park. And then Steven Berghuis is coming off for Klassen, the ex-Everton man. A lot of experience he's got as well. About 34 years old, I believe he is. But it is Sands now for Rangers. Gives it to Borna Barisic here. Still, Ajax pressing them quite heavily when they are in possession, even in their own half. It's forcing Sands to put a long ball forward, which is intercepted again by the Ajax defence, and they are back in possession yet again, Ajax. It's not been a great game, guys. For Rangers, it's been terrible. What do you guys think needs to change? Is it the management? Is it just the players not playing for the manager? What is it? What's the reason for these two back-to-back 4-0 losses? Is it just that they haven't showed up for the games? I mean, tonight it's just been... It's probably one of the worst Rangers performances I've seen in a long time, especially in Europe. I didn't watch the one when they lost 2-0 in the playoff rounds, but they did obviously win that game 3-0, I think, at the next game. But this game has just been absolutely terrible for Rangers. It's quite upsetting to see, really. But it is Rangers in possession now with Sands. Gives the ball to Barisic here. Barisic back to Sands. Sands boots it forward, but it lands in the path of Klassen. Klassen then lays it off to Bassi. Bassi now on the edge of the box here. Driving forward. He finds a Campos. Campos gives it back to Timber. Timber now to Dusan Tadic. Back to Timber again. Bassi again on the ball here. To Timber. To Klassen. Yuri Bass now. Back to Klassen. Comes back out to Yuri Bass. Then to Calvin Bassi again. To Timber. To Klassen. To Bassi again. And then to Yuri Bass. Back to Bassi again. Gio to Linfield. It's Ajax again now. We'll do some Tadic down that right hand side. And you get a ball into the box. He plays it to the edge of the box instead. Playing it back to Timber, back to Calvin Bassi. Ajax now just killing off this game here, just passing it around quite comfortably. I can see Matundo trying to press the Ajax defence, which is quite positive to see, but the rest of the forwards look like they're knackered. It's Calvin Bassi now. Bassi passes it back to the keeper. Bassi now back to Hemst. Hemst now pushes the ball forward to Kudos. Kudos to Klassen on the edge of the box here. Finds Tadic, takes a shot. Saved company by McLaughlin. There's actually a Campos, sorry, took the shot there. Not the best strike. It's quite comfortably saved by McLaughlin. McLaughlin plays a short, comes back to him. He's put under a lot of pressure by Campos again, but luckily they managed to do clear it. And it comes to Steve Davies in the centre of the park. He switches it across down that right hand side to find Leon King. Can he find Matondo making that run? He can. He tries to turn his man, but he's tackled quite comfortably by the Ajax defence again, and Ajax are back in possession with Calvin Bassi here. Calvin Bassi again here. Gives it to a Campos, back to Bassi. Finds Yuri Bass. Back to Bassi again. Back to Timber. Now down to a Campos. He's making a run offside here, so he's let the ball play out. Ajax are making another substitution here as well, their fourth substitution. Just to see off the game now. 88 minutes played now, guys. 4-0 Ajax. It's Edison Alvarez coming off the park. He's got the first goal for Ajax, and it's Jorge Sanchez coming on for Ajax. The Mexican now coming off the park. And it looks like Brian Brobbery's coming on as well for Mohamed Kudos. The youngster Brian Bobbery. He's been on the scene for absolutely ages, Bobbery. I remember there was a picture of him when he was like 14, playing against the under 14s. He was absolutely massive in comparison. But kudos is coming off the park today for Ajax. And for me, he's been the man of the match this game. He had a brilliant game. As someone mentioned earlier, Rangers defence making him look like Lionel Messi. He's been absolutely amazing. But Bobbery's given a chance now in the last few minutes of the game. Let's see if he can make it number 5. But it is Rangers in possession now. Just passing it around the defence here to Borna Barisic. Gives it to Sands, then back to Borna Barisic here. Barisic passes it back to Sands now. He switches it across to Connor Goldson. He then tries to find Matunda down that right-hand side, which he manages to do so. He then gives it back to Leon King. He sees Jack making that run forward, passes it to him, back to Matunda again, then to Leon King. Leon King's pass is misplaced, trying to find Davies, and Ajax are back in possession now again. And it is Dusan Tadic now, gives it back to Bassi. Back to Tadic. Now to Hench down that right back spot. Hench now gives it to Timber, then to Bassi. And we are in the 90th minute, guys. There will be 3 minutes of stoppage time left to play of this game. And it is Calvin Bassi now for Ajax. Gives it to Timber. Timber tries to find a compass, making that run down the left-hand side, which he manages to do so. He's got Klaas in there in support. Can he find him? He doesn't. He finds the midfielder instead, who then gives it back out to Klassen down that left-hand side. Gives it back to Calvin Bassi. To Yuri Bass. Yuri Bass now trying to find that overlap and run for Compost, but he misplaces his pass, and Rangers do clear it away, trying to find Ryan Kent, who's up front there. They find Kolach instead, who gives it to Ryan Kent, who then passes it back to Davies. He's got Barisic there on support. He finds him down that left-hand side here. Can he get a ball into the area? He attempts it, but it's blocked by the Ajax defender, and it goes out for a Rangers throw-in here in Ajax's half. 2 minutes left to play, guys, of this game. It looks like it's going to end 4-0. But a terrible, terrible start for both Scottish clubs in Europe group stages. Rangers attempt to put the ball into the area by Leon King, but you can't find Kolach. It's headed away by the Ajax defence, but only as far out to Steve Davies. Steve Davies attempts to switch of play to Ryan Kent. He misplaces the pass, but Ryan Kent wins the ball back in the area, takes a shot. It's blocked by the Ajax defender, Timber, and it goes out for a Rangers corner. There's a brilliant opportunity to get one back for Rangers there. It's a great block by the Ajax defender. Great pressing by Ryan Kent to win that ball back, but it was blocked nicely there by Timber. And it is a Rangers corner kick, and Barisic will take it. Probably their last attack of the game here on this corner kick. He gets the ball into the area. It's headed away by the Ajax defender and goes out for another corner for Rangers here. Can we get one back before the game finishes here? We've got 40 seconds left to play. Ball comes into the area as a poor pass, and it's cleared away quite comfortably by Klassen. But only as far as out to Sands. He gives it back to Ryan Kent here on the edge of the box. Kent takes a shot. It's saved somewhat uncomfortably by the Ajax keeper, but it is still 4-0 with 10 seconds left to play of this game. I think that's going to be it, guys. The keeper rolls it out to Timber. Timber gives it across to Calvin Bassi. And that is the game, guys. It ends 4-0 for Ajax of Amsterdam in the Johan Cruyff Arena. It's a very, very poor start to the group stages for Rangers and respectively Celtic as well yesterday. Yeah, a very disappointing result on all accounts. But I'll see you guys very, very soon. Dan will be back on Saturday for the Rangers game versus Aberdeen. I might be doing the Livingston game as well, potentially, but we'll see what happens. But thanks again, guys, for watching the stream, and hope you have a good rest of your night. All right, unlucky about the result, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.